gloomy nowadays. You know, the kind of weather that gives you existential crisis and makes you want to question everything. Like, who are you? What are you? Why are you? And also, I have to whisper because at my house are sleeping and I do not want to wake up the beast, aka my mother. I've just realized maybe that I'm more scared of my mother than my father. Hmm. Anywho, it's 31st December. It's almost midnight. For the past few years or so, I can say that I've been celebrating my New Year's or this entire holiday season just me by myself at home. And I'm just like very happy to celebrate it all by myself. Can't you tell? So this year, I decided that I am going to do this kind of a book reading marathon, kind of for 24 hours. And that's what I did. I read all those books like on 23rd December or 24th December. I don't even remember. But I was just so lazy to film the intro and this entire part because it's just so cold. And I do not want to get out of my comfort zone. This, my comfort zone. So I read the books which are like newly released, especially for the holiday season. My only requirement from those books were that I want a very cozy holiday, Christmassy, New Year vibe. I want, if I could, because where I live there is no white winter, so I want kind of like a white wintry vibes. And of course, it must have romance in it. And because I'm just in that kind of a zone nowadays, I'm in a hopeless romantic era of mine. So again, I am a happy person. You can see it on my face. So these are the requirements that I was looking for in the books that I read. And if I found them, I'm going to give them 5 stars. If this work out, I'm going to make this my holiday tradition every year. I'm not going to make it a tradition 0 to 2.5 stars. I might make it a tradition 2.5 to 3.5 stars. I am definitely going to make this a tradition 3.5 to 5 stars. Okay, the first book that I read was by December Darling by Lauren Asher. I have only read one book from her, and I also got to know that she is the same author that wrote that final offer, that series. I haven't read that series because I had that certain trust issues with viral books. Most of the times, my reaction to them are like, eh, okay. And she was one of those writers, or that series was one of those series which just blew up on the internet. But I have read one book from her in my previous video that was The Love Redesign, and I actually kind of enjoyed that book. It get me out of my reading slump, so yeah, I liked it. But I forgot to mention in my previous video about it that what I didn't like about her books is that most of her books, they are based on small town, you know but when I was reading that book, and I forget to mention it, that I didn't get that small town vibes from that book. If I am reading a small town trope book, I just want to have that entire feel of small town. I actually have to feel that I am in that small town. I can actually feel that what the people are like, what they do, and everything. It was just like in her book, I feel like the small town was just in the background. It wasn't doing much for the story. So, yeah, I had that complaint from that book. So, I was hoping that problem might rectify in this book. Okay, the book follows the story of Catalina and Luke. So, Catalina, her sister, is getting married on 30th December, I guess, and she is getting married to Catalina's ex boyfriend, but there is no bad blood between them because they realize they are better off friends than, in a relationship with each other. And Catalina, she is a travel nurse. She has certain issues with commitments and staying put. Comes where she had mommy issues, I guess. Yeah, so she is back in her hometown, which is also a small town, and that I think it's the same town from that, I think, that Final Offer or the Love redesign. I think it's from all the same universe, I think, for her sister's wedding. But she has a condition that she is going to leave the town on 1st January. Yeah, she can't wait to get out of this town because she doesn't want to stay. And Luke, oh, Luke is such a sweetheart. He is genuinely a very nice guy. You know, the type of person who are good looking, they are doing amazing in their job, and also that person is so nice. So when you look at these type of people, you feel like either they are genuinely this nice or happy with their life, or they have psychopathic tendencies. Luke is genuinely a very nice guy, and Luke is actually Catalina's ex-boyfriend's best friend, who is also like Catalina's sister's fiance right now. Yeah. So Luke really likes Catalina, and he just wants her to stay with him in that small town because he's a doctor and he is working in a hospital in that town. The whole book that later on just follows that him convincing Catalina to, that being in relationship with him would be a good idea and she should just stay. So yeah. So, does this book give me a cozy Christmassy vibe? Actually, yeah, it does. Does it give me a white winter? It did. It has romance. Yes, it has. If I look at like that, I give this book 5 stars. But if I have to give it a real rating, like on the basis of book, I'm going to give it like 4.5. Moving on, this book is The Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. Okay, this book, I love it. I love it so, so, so much. It was only 62 pages, but it have done wonders for me for some reason. Okay, so this book is a part of this 5 book series called Under the Mistletoe, and each book have written by different authors. And I've read this book, and I've also read the second book from this series as well. I'm going to talk about that later. Saying that I love this book because I love Ali Hazelwood, and my reason of loving Ali Hazelwood is because she was that author who get me into this rabbit hole of contemporary romance. And I may be a little biased towards her, but that's not the thing. I genuinely like this book so much. It has everything that I like. So let's talk about it, okay? Because I'm very excited. The book follows the story of Mars and Jamie. Mars and Jamie, they both are like childhood friends. I mean, not exactly. Mars is actually Jamie's best friend's brother, but the book shows us from the day Mars is born, because Mars is like 2.5 years younger than Jamie. So we also see that how Mars is just completely in love with Jamie, but Jamie for some reason later on just had a very troubled life when it comes to her family, and she rejected Mars, and there is this entire history between them. But presently it is Christmas Eve, and Jamie had went to Mars's house to borrow like a copper pen, but there is a very bad snowstorm outside and they are stuck in that house. And Jamie got to know that Mars is the only one in his family house right now because rest of the family have went to a vacation. Scandalous. To be honest, that force proximity is not kind of like my favorite trope, but yeah, it works. Anywho, it works because it kind of gave them a time to resolve all of these issues. And Mars is just completely in love with Jamie. I really like that part. And the thing I like about this book is that in 62, less than 62 pages, it gave me the entire history of Mars and Jimmy. I just love it. It had so many emotions. I love each and everything, and especially for me, I am biased towards uh that type of story where characters have, like, some kind of a history together. I love that part so much. So does it give me a Christmassy cozy vibe? No. It has like a lot of layers of emotions, but not that. you know Christmas was just in the background. So no. Does it give me a white winter? It was a snowstorm, so maybe. It has romance, of course it is, and I loved it. So from that point of view, I'm going to give it like 3 stars, but my real rating, 5 stars. Okay, next book is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ellie Carter. This book is like one of those cozy mysteries with a splash of romance and holiday vibes, and I'm here for it. Okay, so the story is of Ethan and Maggie. Maggie is a very famous author. Not very famous, I think she's a like mildly famous author. No, she's a famous author. I don't even remember, but she is an author and she writes these cozy mysteries, murder mysteries and all. And then we have Ethan. Ethan writes mostly, I guess, thriller books. Yeah, but he's also very famous. So, what happened is on Christmas, like 3 days before Christmas, Maggie got this invitation from an anonymous person from England. They have invited her for this Christmas party, and all the expenses are paid. Red flag. But anywho, and that same party, Ethan was also invited. And we got to know that Maggie, for some reason, doesn't like Ethan. And also, Maggie is going through a very bad patch in her life where she have just got divorced from her husband who was cheating on her with her best friend. Bitches. And also, he took everything from her. But she's okay now. She's in a good place. I think so. Maybe Ethan and Maggie, they both went to England in this very secluded manor, or like mansion, where they meet Eleanor Ashley. Eleanor Ashley is a very famous murder mystery writer. In this universe, she is like Agatha Christie type of famous, you know. And there are a lot of people also invited in that mansion for this Christmas party. There was one missing person and one almost murder. And Maggie and Ethan, they have to crack that who did it. So yeah, it's all around that. The mystery part of it, I would say it was like, because I solved 70% of it, and I'm very, very proud of myself. And also, like, I have underestimated myself so much. I think that if I could solve it, I don't think the mystery was that great, which I shouldn't. I should be proud of myself. But the romance part of it, it was amazing. I love the chemistry of Ethan and Maggie. And we also got to know that Ethan was always in love with Maggie. This is why I read books. This is why it gave me stupid hopes, which I shouldn't have, because life is not like that. So, did it give me a Christmassy vibe? Actually, I did. It has White Winter. Yes, it does. Romance, amazing. So, I'm going to give this book 5 stars. But my real rating related to like the mystery, another part, 3.5 stars. Last book that I've read was the second book from the series, The Under the Mistletoe. That was Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey. And I think she is also one of those viral authors, but I haven't read any of her books. This book follows the story of Evie and Luke. We have another Luke, okay? Evie is a single mother. She has a 5-month-old son, and she have moved to this small town of Texas, and she works in a thrift store, and she also likes to design her own clothes. And Luke, he is a farmer in that small town. He lives alone. He has that grumpy look going on. But the moment he saw Evie, he just fell in love with her. Yeah. Rest of the book is just them getting together and having a life, like found family kind of a situation there. So I didn't really like this book so much. Yeah, because it was set up in Texas. It doesn't have white winter. It doesn't give me any Christmassy vibe. Romance was like, ah. So I would give this book 2 stars. And my real rating is also 2 stars. So by that, my entire 24 book reading marathon comes to an end, just like 2024, less than 1 hour, I guess. It's 11:10, so we are going to enter in 2024. I was also thinking of making a New Year resolution this year and thinking that 2025 is going to be my year. But then I thought that I'm going to break them anyway in like less than a week or so. So why disappoint myself? So if I have to give this entire experience, I would give it 4 star. Actually, I really like that. I think I am going to make it a tradition. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Happy New Year. Don't make New Year resolution. Don't disappoint yourself. And